coming into the workout room. They want to work out with me. My guys will make the determination as to whether they do or not. I trust their judgment. They are my eyes and my ears when it comes to the workout situation.
It looks rough.
This is fun and games, people. This is what you're going to make it.
Never been good with the Grammy rolls.
This is light. Basically what we do here is we roll around generally for no more than 15 minutes. All right, again, we're trying to warm up the muscles, trying to warm up the ligaments and the tendons. Those get cold too. What we want to do is be ready when we have to get into the full phase of the workout. These guys are great. These guys are what make me a champion. If you ever see anybody, you can't win the Super Bowl with just one guy.
Yeah.
Also, as we're doing this, we're checking out our technique. See where I'm weak at, where I'm strong at. What I also have to do, there you go. Got a good arm bar. But I'm not cranking on this man. Me and this man are working together. Look, I can't go in and win the UFC if I get hurt.
Yeah.
I tap out all the time during the workout room. Andy makes me tap. Rich makes me tap. Sam, Rainey, they all make me tap. Thing is that I can trust these guys not to continue on. There's a lot of superstars out there. Once you tap, they're going to keep applying the pressure. They're also going to go outside and run around, hey, I made Don Fry tap. These guys aren't going to do that. These guys aren't in there for that. These guys are in there to make sure that I can stay the champion, and they do a great job. Next phase of the routine is we decide who's going in the guard. We spend most of our
Okay, so they start with grappling. I assume that he was about to say something before I paused. That was poor timing.
time on the ground because 90% of the fights in the UFC end up on the ground.
Okay, and that's actually a good way of putting that. The whole philosophy of 90% of fights go to the ground is actually a deeply flawed statistic that the Gracies took out of context as a promotional thing, because that whole 90% of fights go to the ground thing was actually a statistic for law enforcement, because they deliberately try to bring the fight to the ground so that they have the advantage and can properly restrain the person. But in the UFC, wrestlers run rampant in the UFC, and then and heck, to this day, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys run rampant in the UFC. Of course, I think the wrestlers are a bigger threat than the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. And I think the judo and sambo guys are even bigger threats than the wrestlers. But yeah, I'd say it's fair to say that 90% of fights in the UFC will go to the ground at some point. Unless you got a fight between two strikers. But it's very rare to have a fight between strikers these days. I mean, it would be more common back in those days just because there were more specialists who didn't cross-train back in those days, but you did occasionally. But heck, Don Fry here was the first well-rounded fighter in the UFC. But okay, so that's not.
Also, I don't spend a lot of time standing up and sparring because I'm not going to hurt my people. I have a heavy bag for that. I have a guy who works mitts for that also. I'm real happy with the way Danny Diaz works my mitts for me. He does a good job. Those are focus pads, hand mitts. He'll move around. I'll follow around. I'll hit that. I'll hit the heavy bag. There's no need to go around beating up your sparring partners.
Okay, that's actually very interesting there. He's saying he doesn't spar much because he has a good person holding mitts for him. He has a heavy bag. Yeah, and he doesn't like to hurt the guys he works with. Now, I will say light sparring is definitely a thing, but that's an interesting thing. Yeah, interesting conclusion there. And okay, so Don Fry didn't spar much in his professional career, but he's one of the best fighters in MMA history. So, I think that's a pretty strong argument against sparring being essential, especially him and Muhammad Ali, famous, weren't big proponents of sparring for actual skill development. So, an argument can be made that sparring isn't nearly as important as people make it out to be. So, I think that take that as you will. But let's get back into the actual talk.
And he's in the guard. I work the guard. I work the top position. What happens here also is Andy and I will probably go for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute sprint. After that, say Rich will come in. Generally, what they do, sometimes they'll be nice to let me come up, and then Rich will hop down in the guard. A lot of the times, Andy will hold me down. Rich then comes in and cheap shots me. These guys, it's a lot of fun we have, but it's also serious work.
Okay,
we're down here working. Again, I'm not going to punch my guy. We will simulate. I'll say a shot to the rib. I may say hammer strike to the head. I may say headbutt, but I never make contact. If you ever go into a dojo and you see two guys on the ground, one guy's on top of him, punching away, grab your gear and get out of there. Find someplace else, because that sensei or whoever's running the dojo is an idiot.
Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. I instantly have more respect for Don Fry because he's using the terms dojo and sensei first and foremost. Yeah, but on on the topic of what he's saying, that is pretty true. If you're going full contact ground and pound in sparring, that's dumb. But there's a fine line between just simulating it, saying what you're doing, and going full contact. I remember in my jiu-jitsu classes, we would do ground and pound drills where we would throw it, but we wouldn't make contact. I would go kind of like, and people always hated it because I would move my hands really fast because, I came into jiu-jitsu after 7 years of karate. Of course, my hands are going to be fast. When it comes to actually hitting people.
I don't want to be involved in anything like that. Safety first. If this man breaks my arm, I can't compete. I can't make a living.
Okay, that was a good escape.
Again, simulate elbows.
Those are illegal.
I'll simulate knees.
Also illegal.
He taps, I stop. This will go on for about a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever we decide. We decide at the beginning of the workout, okay, we're going to go 1 minute sprints, 2 minute sprints, 5 minute sprints, what have you. Then Rich comes in. Andy's in the gi. Rich comes in just shorts and a t-shirt. What I want to do is get a different look on all of my workout partners. Sam will work out without a t-shirt. That way I have the sweat situation going with Sam. Here I have the gi. I have to learn how to wrestle with a man with a gi, grab hold of the man, and not get caught. If I grab hold of Andy, I stretch out, and he armbarred me. All I got to do is have enough sense, grab hold of this, let go at a certain point. You got to know when to let go of the gi.
Okay. Going to make up the other point.
Simulate the hammer strikes. Simulate the rib shot.
Okay, it doesn't seem like he's going to bring this up, but okay, so he's bringing up good points. The gi definitely changes things, But it's not just a matter of if you're gripping it, he can use your grip on it to drag you out. But also, the gi adds an extra layer of friction. So if you, so for instance, say he's got you in a half guard. That's where he has one leg locked. With his, but while you're trying to escape. Usually this happens when you're passing a guard, but he catches one of your legs and is trying to hold you in position so you can't get mount. If you're just wearing shorts, you can usually just kind of slip your leg through. But if you're wearing a gi, that extra layer of friction keeps you from slipping through, or even muscling through if you're not strong enough. It makes you have to rely more on the technique, which is why, so many no-gi, jiu-jitsu competitors still train in the gi, even though, they're competing in no-gi. Because, training in the gi makes you better.
Now go to your guard.
Okay, new guys coming in.
Now, someone go, mate, break.
Okay, now I'll actually talk about the sprinting concept. All right, so grappling with sprints, where you have the partner switch out after each sprint, but you stay in, is genuinely great. It allows you to go, it allows you to constantly be able to keep the pressure going to boost your endurance for grappling. But because you're switching out partners every round, that means each round, you're facing someone who has no level of fatigue. Of course, as you rotate through a couple of rounds, the fatigue will start to set in for those guys. But generally, since there's 4 of them, let's say you're going to go 10 rounds. That means you'll have everyone going twice and then 2 guys going a third time. And each person will have at bare minimum like a 5-minute break. Because of the other people going through. Genuinely speaking, this is a perfect way to maximize your conditioning. While preventing your opponents from fatiguing, so that they don't start. So that they have no fatigue for you to capitalize on, or even just use to your advantage in some way. It's honestly similar. Honestly, it's kind of similar to the 100-man kumite in Kyokushin, except that's full contact, and this noticeably isn't.
Get him, Cal. Get him, Cal. No.
Okay, and notice each person's different, and it's not just what they're wearing, because one guy's in a gi, one guy's in the shirts and a short. So's this guy, but they're also different sizes. And that's great. Work with people who are different sizes so that you can get better at fighting people with different characteristics. The current best judoka in the world, Shohei Ono, does that exact thing. He'll grapple with guys who are heavyweights so that he can work on countering strength. He'll work with guys who are smaller than him to work with the wily ones. Who are quick, agile, and generally able to kind of just work around technique. That's more or less what he's doing here, but notice he's got a couple pretty big guys. Admittedly, judo generally seems to attract the big guys. So that might have something to do with it. But this is great.
We start all over again. Mate, break.
Okay, he mentioned having 4 training partners. I think the 4th one is holding the camera because we only see 3 guys right now. Okay, that was a really good way to get back in control.
Great. Rich, get him, Rich.
Okay, that's that half guard.